Hey, so during the last few videos, what we did is that we developed the blog using React, and we have DEV.to as a backend for our blog, and this front end made in React is gonna just fetch the post from the backend on DEV.to. I'm gonna show you what it looks like right now. It's pretty ugly, I know, and that's the point from today's video. We're gonna use a React component library called Evergreen to implement it in a better way, like just provide it a better look. As for inspiration, what I looked for was something like this. This is Lee Robson's blog. He's a pretty nice guy, really nice screencast he records on YouTube. Go check him out. And what I wanted to do is just to make this blog that we developed here, it's just like text right now, at least it works. Wanted to make it look more like this, minimalist but a nice and subtle look, right? And that's pretty much it that we're gonna do today. For that, I was looking for a React components library because I didn't want to do a lot of things from scratch. So there are several options. These are the most used ones. Material UI, which is initially brought to you by Google. React Bootstrap by Twitter. Well, it's actually just Twitter Bootstrap, but whatever. It's a React library for using the Bootstrap CSS framework. And Evergreen is directly brought to you by the Segment team, and it's a super simple library, and that's what I like the most from it. So I'm gonna close these other two, and if you take a look at the components, mainly what we're gonna need to do to reproduce what we have in this interface here is just like some kind of heading, like typography elements. We're gonna have to add a header to change the URLs here. We're just probably gonna use React Router, and that should be all. Maybe use this as a button. So if we take a look here, what we're gonna use is their layout primitives, just for organizing things in panes, which it's like a powerful div. Let's call it a pane is a div on asteroids. And that's one of the basic components that we're going to use. Typography, so we have text, we have paragraph, we have heading, link. We might be using some of these. And what do they look like? Let's get the demo down here. Yeah. So apparently you just have the heading, you pass a property size, and you're good to go. You can add almost all of their components have a margin top, padding top, and all of its variants. You can even change here. That's one of the coolest features I've seen here, is that actually if you change things here, you can say, for instance, margin button and set it here, and it's updating live up there. You see, you can play around at margin X, margin Y. It's just so simple and useful. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking and let's jump into the code. So what does it look like right now as a code wire? So a basic vanilla React app looks more like this. Just everything except for the components folder. So in the other videos I added the components folder, which has two components here. They're not even reusable components, just like encapsulating the logic from post and posts. And the main thing, the first thing to render in our application is the app.js file. So we're gonna start by that, and this we're gonna start trimming things, remove everything that we don't find useful, create a header component for this part of the app. That's the only one that sticks here, and then make it turn into the different pages by using the React router. Okay, let's get started then. This is the app.js. Let's clean it up, remove all this boilerplate from the app. Here I'm saving, so it auto formats, and inside app CSS I'm just gonna delete this file as well, as we're probably not gonna use it. So I'm removing this import as well since it's not needed anymore. Maybe I'm gonna increase a little bit the screen for you. Hope that's useful. If it's not, please let me know, because I prefer to code in a small screen. But okay, this is what it would look like without any CSS. So the first thing that we can do is to reproduce the same container that we had before. Stop it. We could use the pane provided by the Evergreen library. We save it here. Pane is not imported yet, so I probably don't pronounce pain well. I say pain like if it was suffering, right? But here's the pane. What do we need here? We need some width. I think before it was 600, but I would rather go with a smaller column size. And to make it centered, we can apply a margin auto. Evergreen UI does not. Okay. Oh yeah, we didn't install Evergreen yet. So here's our project. What I'm just gonna do is yarn Evergreen UI. That's it. That's all you have to do to have Evergreen in your project. While it's installing, what can we do? Nothing much actually. Let's just refresh the page. Evergreen UI does not contain default export. Oh yeah, okay, so that's my bad. They don't have a default export for that. We need just to extract the pane. This is importing all of the components of the library if you do it this way, so it's less performant, but we don't really care here. This website's gonna be built before being deployed, and everything's gonna be generated beforehand, so whatever. It's only being used for development. Okay, that looks pretty cool, but I'm gonna remove this image. That seems a little bit too much, but the image has been added to the post file. So I'm gonna start by this here, and okay, no image. We go back to the app. What we want to have here too, I would probably add a header to the top here. I'm gonna also create the header file, and we can add the header file here, and inside the header, just useful, not useful, header. What do we need here? We're just gonna add a fragment for now and export default header. Okay. Okay. So the Untello live text that we have here, this we could start moving into the header, and if you just place it inside here, we can remove this. It's still there. And now we're gonna start using implementing the interface with the panes from Evergreen UI. So I'm just gonna remove this and use the basic structure from a React component, because we're gonna need that later. We're usually gonna need that later. Almost always you're gonna have a state or something. In this case, we're gonna need the React router to change between the different tabs. So I'm just anticipating what we're gonna need. And here we can add a pane. So this is gonna be the main line. inside this line, so this should be a display flex, and inside the line we're gonna need two things. We're gonna need first the title, right? So let's say it's a pane or a text. Maybe we can just call it a heading. We say that the heading was until alive, and this heading I want it to grow to fit almost everything and push the button that we're gonna have in the right. So move it to the, well, I'm gonna just add both here first so you can see what is going on. So let's add a button, and the button's gonna be posts, okay? We need to import everything that we're using, so we're gonna import pane, heading, and button from Evergreen UI. And why? Refresh. Okay, it's too fast. So this is what we want, but you realize, for instance, that things are not centered vertically. So we can do that by just adding here align items center. So now they're centered vertically, until live and posts. We might want to add some Y margin. So for that, margin Y equals, and we say, I don't know, 24 pixels. Yeah, that looks good to me. And now that's what I was saying, that I want this to grow and fit all the flex div that we have wrapping it. For that, we can add flex 1 here, and boom, it grows. For the button, they have different options, but I think it's appearance and minimal. Yeah, that's it. So it looks more like a link, but when you hover, you still have the functionality of a button. This, we wanted to have the functionality of a link. So what I'm gonna do for now is just that I'm gonna change the cursor here. So Evergreen allows you to change it pretty simply by doing this, and almost all of the components have this feature. So now when you hover it, you see the pointer, and it looks like a link. Now that we're good with the looks of the heading, let's move on to the post session, okay? So in this post session, we have what? We have the posts, yeah, each one of the posts is just a link. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna just remove everything for now. Yeah, let's just remove everything for now. Let's add the pane. So once again, it's gonna be exactly the same thing. We're gonna add a pane with a heading, and inside the heading we want post.title, and we want to have the views on the right. What is it that they do? So he does views on the right. I would probably go with just the likes. Yeah, let's show the likes on the right. So it's not the heading, I want a text, and it's gonna be whatever likes. And if you don't know what's coming from DEV.to, you can just go to their API, DEV.to API. And what we have here, articles and user articles, and then you open it here, and here we're gonna have positive reactions count. That's good. So that should be almost everything we need for this first, to get started with this. And let's also add the description. So post description, and we're gonna have to wrap it with a fragment, otherwise React's gonna keep complaining. Now we save it, it's complaining about the imports, we're gonna import, no worries. And what do we need now? Pane, heading, text from Evergreen UI. And we don't use React router down, but I'm gonna keep it here for now because we're gonna use the use history hook from React router DOM. Okay, what does it look like right now? Way better, way better. Now we want to move this to the right here. How can we do that? Same way we did before. It's a display, not center, that's my bad. So it's display flex, and in the heading we want it to grow, so we're gonna say it's flex equals 1. That makes it look pretty much what we're aiming for, right? Maybe let's add some margin button to the whole thing. So this, let's call it a pane too, and let's say margin button. Well, actually, you don't need this. We can just use this one, margin button. Up. No, not this one, because this one is only the heading and the text. So we do need to wrap it around. And margin button equals 24 too. Cool. How about margin Y? Okay, I like it. And we want to make this, maybe not likes, that's just me, okay, but I don't really like this. I'm gonna put a little heart on it. There you go. Yeah, way better. Maybe just a margin top to this text. So text here, margin top equals 12. Why it didn't change? Can I add margin button here? Yes. So probably the text component doesn't take a margin, but that was surprising. Yeah, looks good enough for me for now. And now we need to make things work, right? Because I click things here and they don't do anything. So for that, we want to wrap this pane, which is the one that's wrapping everything. We're gonna add a on click to it, and what's gonna do, it's gonna push something to the history, and this history we're gonna fetch it from not really fetch, but we're gonna define it from the React router here. So let's do it first so it makes sense. Once we're doing it's use history, and here we just need to import use history so that we can push, and we're gonna have to make it dynamic. It's gonna be /post.id. And if we save this, now we can also add a cursor, which is a pointer, so it looks like a link. And now when you click this, boom, you go to the page. Maybe let's add a title to this page too. So the post page is gonna start by a title, which is gonna be a heading of size, I don't know, 600. Let's try this out and say it's posts, maybe a little bit bigger, 800. Okay, that looks more like his site. Blog, all posts. Okay, like this. Oh. And okay, we click Oh yeah, so what happens if we click here? Nothing. And here, nothing. So let's give some behavior to that too. How do we do that? So to make these links work, we're gonna again use React router, and we're gonna use the user history hook. So for this one, we wanted to go to the slash path, and this we want to bring you to the slash posts path. So what we do for that is very simple. Here we have the post. I'm going to just duplicate this. When you go to slash, we want to go to the home. When you go to slash posts, we want to go to posts, and home doesn't exist. We're going to create this, and here we're going to add the home.js file. I'm probably just going to save some time and copy the header here and rename things. This is going to be actually home, and inside the home, I don't know, what can we add here? We're gonna add a paragraph. Okay. Oh, my lights turned off. Okay, paragraph, maybe add 2 paragraphs with, let's see what it looks like. Paragraph, it's inside typography, paragraph, and size 300, margin top default. Let's use both of these, and so I'm gonna add it like this, and here Lauren Ibsen. Perfect. Oh yeah, paragraph's not defined because we need to import it. There you go, we have our home page. If we click here, it does nothing, click here, it does nothing. So let's do this. What do we do for that? We need inside the header to use the same thing that we used before for the posts. So this hook, use history, I'm just gonna copy and paste it here, and same thing for the history push that we did. I'm gonna actually copy the whole on-click thing and paste it where we want it to be here, heading, but instead of going to posts, we just wanted to go to the slash route. And for the posts, it's almost the same thing, except that we wanted to go to the slash posts route. User history was not imported. Yeah, it makes sense because you need to import it from React router. Nope, router. Ali, done. What's the problem? User history is not defined. Why? What did I do wrong? Import user history from React router, done. Oh. Yeah, I wasn't wrong, just refreshed it and it works. So when I click here and click here, it just brings me to the right pages, right? And when I click here, brings me to the post session, and the post session deserves a better look as well. So let's try to do that. Shouldn't take that long for the top of the page, maybe just adding a title here and a back button. What's interesting is that if you go to the Evergreen button session, you're gonna realize that they provided you with a back button actually. It's really surprising because it's so simple, but they did provide you a back button, seeing that's super used, right? So inside this page, we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna add the back button, and our back button, what's gonna do? On click. So once again, we're gonna use an arrow function that's gonna push into the history. Oh damn, we just wanted to bring us back to posts. So here at the top, we're gonna actually history, and we're gonna call the hook from the router, and that's pretty much all we need for. Oh yeah, and the back button, we need to import it. Back button. Actually, do I have a quick way for importing this? Yeah, nice. But it doesn't seem to work. Okay, import back button from Evergreen UI. If you're watching and you know an easy way to set up how to automatically import things, that'll be like save so much time. So please leave a comment if you know how to do that. I'm gonna add the title as well of the post, because right now it doesn't have any title. We can do that by doing this. Again, size, it was 800 in the previous one, and we can just write post, not posts, post title, and the heading should be imported as well. That's good. Why is it complaining? Why is it importing posts actually? We don't need this, right? Okay, so here's the title. It's just maybe too close to that. So here we could add a margin top, I don't know, 12. Yeah, that looks good. But the post itself looks pretty bad. Especially if you go to like fairly helpful here, there's code, and if we take a look at DEV.to and what it looks like there, fairly helpful terminal aliases, and here it looks like this, and in our blog you see this, it looks pretty crappy. How can we improve that? Okay, that's a bit of a hack, but what I usually do in this case, to save time, I just go into the style sheet of the website, copy the URL, copy the whole style sheet. Now we're gonna create a file here in the post, and it's only gonna be used for the post. Let's call it post.css to follow the convention. There are not so many conventions, which is pretty bad, and coming from a Rails world, I missed that a lot, and while doing React. So also, if you have nice docs or articles explaining good React patterns or conventions, or things that are good patterns to organize your code, I would be glad to read these docs. So here's the imported CSS. What I would do is, for instance, we wanted to for the code to be formatted well, right? And so I would look for the code here, and so we find this, and now we realize that most of the things you see are included inside a container that is wrapping a body, and then you have the formats. That's probably what they use around every post on DEV.to. So what I'm gonna do, first I'm gonna just take a look at our app. If I refresh, it didn't change anything because it's not being wrapped by the good classes. But if we come here to the post, this is actually the post. You see post body HTML, and we wrap this with two divs, a div inside a div. And in the first div, we can add the class name of container, and in the second div we add the class name of body, and we put the body of the post inside the body. That should look, yeah, that should look like what we have in DEV.to. It looks a lot like there's still this weird little thing. I think that's what we use on DEV.to to expand the code. I'm gonna hide this like this, JS Actions panel. What can we do inside post CSS? I'm just gonna add here JSX banner, and let's say display none, and it's a class, and let's make it important. Refresh, and boom, that looks good. That looks good. Yeah. Just adding a little bit of margin to the top of this title. I know it's not important, but it is important for me. Otherwise, I'm gonna go crazy seeing that asymmetric margin. Yeah, 24. It's way better now. So this is our home page. When you click post, it brings you to the list of all the posts with your likes. You cannot like, that would be cool, but really won't implement that, and it's not a purpose of this video. And then you have the posts themselves here. That's it for me today. Looks pretty cool. I like it. So let me know what you think about it. If you have any other preferred React UI libraries, like React component libraries that are similar to Evergreen or better, or let me know whatever you would like to see in other sessions. Glad to help, and that's it. See you next time. Peace.